Come here real quick. Have y'all heard the story of 17-year-old Madison Holton, whose father unalived his wife and then unalived himself, and then Madison got charged for it? Yeah, come here. It's deep. It's deep. Let me sit up to serve this tea piping hot. So here go Madison, what he looks like today. And there go Madison's parents, April and Michael. Okay, so just a little backstory. They say that, like, when Madison was younger, he was, like, scrawny and he didn't really have no friends. He was really a loner, but he was, like, a sweet kid and he was real helpful. And then when he got older, by the time he was in 12th grade, he was, like, real popular and real social. He was, like, almost 6 feet, right? But that was also when he started to hang out with the wrong crowd and, like, start rebelling against his parents, just, like, acting out, smoking weed. Everybody do that. Now, during this time, that was also around the time that his parents was getting a divorce. His mama had left his daddy during the summertime because she wanted to have a hot girl summer. She was like, no, I'm tired of putting up with your stuff. I'm out of here. So Madison decided to still live with his daddy, even though his daddy was strict. So while he was living with his daddy, September 11, 2016, he had threw a party while his daddy was at work. One of the kids went from the party and went home and was too lit, got caught up by their parents. So Michael got home raising hell. He find homemade bongs and different paraphernalia around the house, and of course the house smelling like straight gas. So Michael had called April, which is his soon-to-be ex-wife, and was like, yo, come over here, this boy done threw a party, we gotta talk about this. She got over there, long story short, he had wound up handcuffing Madison or whatever, trying to scare him straight, and then called the cops on that boy. The deputy showed up and was like, yeah, all right, well, what you want me to do, pretty much. The daddy was like, give me some information, like, how do I take him to court? I want him to stand in front of a judge and, like, basically get scared straight. Dude was like, all right, no problem. Here go the information. Do that tomorrow. You can go in front of the judge. So the deputy left. 11 minutes later, they get called back talking about his shots fired at the crib. So he skirt, all the way back. So when he get back, what do he see? He see Michael right there laying on the floor, unalived in the bedroom. And he see his wife, April, laying next to him. She clinging to life at this point. She was shot in the hand and in the face, like trying to defend herself from the bullet. Mike had a gunshot to the back of his neck, head region right there. Where was Madison, you ask? Madison was at the neighbor house screaming for help so that they could call the police to get his daddy off his mama. And get this, his hands were still handcuffed behind his back. So now I'm really wondering, like, why are y'all charging this boy for murder? Here's why. They say that the angle how he got shot in the back of the head was impossible because nobody could shoot themselves like that. Then they was also finding suspicious that Madison said he never heard the shots from his neighbor's house. Now, when the police got Madison to the police station, they questioned him and they asked him what happened. He was like, okay, bet. After y'all left, I was sitting in the living room still handcuffed. My mama and daddy went in the room. They started talking and arguing. A couple minutes later, I heard my mama screaming for help. So I went over there and kicked down the door. I seen my daddy had my mama in the headlock. That's when I was like, I need to get help. So I ran to the neighbor's house. The police wound up doing a test from the neighbor's house to his father's house was 200 feet. So the police was at his father's house, fired the exact same gun with the exact same bullets while they were at his neighbor's house and said that they could hear the shots. My thing is, of course you're going to be able to hear the shots because you're listening for them. This boy is running, screaming for help, adrenaline pumping, mind racing. He yelling at the neighbors. Like, it would be understandable as to why he didn't hear the shots because there was a lot going on, in my opinion. Then the police was talking about, oh, he's not acting sad and he's acting too nonchalant and he cares more about his homecoming his homecoming dance coming up than his parents actually getting killed and stuff. And it's like, again, he's a 17-year-old kid. He was worried about it. He even said in the investigation he wants to cry, but he's like too hurt to cry. And then it's like he's a 17-year-old boy that don't really do well with emotional stuff. So y'all remember when I told you how the parents were going through a divorce? Tell me why the daddy was mad because the mama April had got a new boyfriend and she was seeing him. They knew this because Madison told them that when his daddy found out, about the boyfriend, he got mad. But Michael also wrote it in his journal. He wrote it along the lines of, April, I don't know why you doing this to us. I can't live without you. It's either going to be me or it's going to be both of us. Sir, what do you mean it's going to be me or the both of us? I left for a reason. For some reason, the police didn't care nothing about that, which was crazy to me. And get this, April had Michael's DNA under her nails, and he had scratches on his face. Sadly, April died a day later after the incident occurred, and Madison never even got to say goodbye to his mama because he was locked up in jail. They tried to charge that boy with 2 counts of murder. Oh yeah, and at the time of the murder, Michael had oxycodone, tramadol, and hydrocodone in his system. The deputy that had came to the house a couple minutes before the shots was fired was like, oh, he didn't seem like he was under the drugs to me, and he didn't seem like the type of guy that would go kill his wife or kill himself. So that's another reason why they was trying to blame Madison. Stupid. So Madison sat in jail for like 15 months, right? Then one of his uncles had bailed him out. They really didn't have money for a defense attorney or whatever, but one day when Madison was at was at church, Madison was at church, he wound up meeting this dude who used to be an FBI agent and a state attorney. So dude started looking into the case and was like, man, they tripping. Like, the evidence is right there. It's clearly a murder-suicide. The prosecutors wound up dropping the charges the day the trial started because they said that they didn't have sufficient enough evidence to confidently convict him on the charges of both of the murders. First of all, I been knew you ain't have all the evidence, because my thing is, why y'all didn't test that boy's hands for gunshot residue? That would have been a clear way to determine whether he was there when the shots was fired or not. And Madison kept asking for a polygraph test, and they never gave him one. He asked about 4 times, never gave him one. Especially since his hand was handcuffed behind his back. And when the police got there, his hands were still handcuffed behind his back. The police tried to say, oh, well, the reason why he doesn't have gun spatter residue is because the caliber of the weapon was so low, it doesn't create a big splatter. But everybody else is like, okay, well, if he shot 2 people close range, wouldn't you expect there to be something? Or wouldn't his DNA somehow be on his mother, his father's, somewhere in there? You know what I'm saying? There's so many unanswered questions about this. But the good thing that came out of this is that as of right now, Madison doesn't have any charges against him. That's not to say that the sheriff or the prosecutors won't come back and try to charge him later. But as of right now, they don't have sufficient enough evidence to charge him and to keep him locked up in jail for life. So that's that on that. Me personally, I feel like it was clearly a murder-suicide. There's no way this boy is about to unhandcuff himself, shoot his parents, handcuff himself, run back to the neighbor's house, and, you know what I'm saying, be like, yeah, why he's still handcuffed? Like, there's no possible way, bro. It's just no way. So, say it ain't so, okay, yo.